I'll be speaking with you about the invention of the atomic bomb. And this is my speaking album. And this is my wonderful audience. Who knew a little man and a fat boy could cause such devastation to a nation? Now you're probably wondering what I mean by a fat man and a little boy, and that is the atomic bomb. I'm sure in the history of your educational careers, you have covered the concept of the atomic bomb, covering its origin, or at least the impact that it had on the world. I have done extensive research on this topic, and I'm currently a biology and a chemistry major at Georgia State University. The race for the creation of the atomic bomb was worked on by practically every nation in the world and intended to be used as a psychological threat to end all future warfare. Today I will first tell you why and how the development of the atomic bomb surfaced, pressures created by its creation, and the impact the atomic bomb had on the world. Now that I have introduced you to the atomic bomb, let's start with the origination of the bomb. Originally, whispers of the atomic bomb surfaced in the beginning of the 20th century when a small group of physicists began to ponder the phenomenon known as radioactivity, the behavior of alpha particles, and the property of those materials when irradiated, according to Richard Rhodes in his book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb. Early 1900s, scientist Ernest Rutherford showed the alpha particle was in fact an atom of helium and contained a small mass known as a nucleus that was surrounded by orbitals that had electrons on them, also in his book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb. By the 1930s, nuclear scientists were exploring the revolutionary concept of splitting an atom of uranium using neutrons. By 1939, the thinking of nuclear scientists had progressed to fission of uranium atoms, causing a chain reaction using the uranium-235 isotope. The possibility of creating a massive atomic explosion was generally known, and calculations of a critical mass were being made. When German scientists caught wind of the direction the scientists were taking with the creation of this atomic explosion, they began to speed up research regarding this topic, according also to Richard Rhodes in his book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb. When the U.S. caught wind of this news, they were pretty alarmed that Nazi Germany had begun extensive research on the same thing that they were doing because they knew the capabilities that the atomic bomb had. Albert Einstein was then, at that time, working in Nazi Germany, doing the same things that the American scientists would do, and sent Roosevelt a letter warning him that Nazis were beginning to look into this issue. Production and development activities were to be speeded up by moving a plant to Chicago for faster development, according to Richard Rhodes, also in his book, The Making of the Atomic Bomb. Efforts to demonstrate the feasibility of a controllable chain reaction began in Chicago. Components were then assembled for development that contained 6 tons of uranium and 250 tons of graphite. These were to be used as moderators so the chain reaction didn't get out of hand and harm the citizens that lived around the plant. Manually operated cadmium rods were then inserted in there to control the reaction, and the reaction was actually successful, sustaining itself for 4.5 minutes. A new, more efficient material was then discovered later, called plutonium. The benefits that plutonium had were that it was lighter, it created a more massive explosion, and it was smaller in size and weight and easier to produce. Now that I've introduced you for the reasons behind the existence of the atomic bomb, let's discuss some of the pressures that it created. The race for the creation of the atomic bomb created many political pressures and worldwide fear. The British were concerned about Nazi research on the atomic bomb, so they led many missions to try to sabotage these plants. Many of them were actually successful. Japan and the Soviet Union were also researching on the atomic bomb, which pressured the U.S. to speed up even more. The U.S. began shipping weapon-grade uranium to Los Alamos, where weapon development was taking place. The new B-29 bombing aircrafts were then developed in order to carry the 9,000-pound to 10,000-pound atomic bombs. To drop the bomb or not drop the bomb, the two-sided coin that President Truman had to face after President Roosevelt's death. The Japanese were extremely persistent in war efforts, unlikely to surrender unless the United States seized control of the entire country. This spurred the decision of dropping the bomb on Japan as a psychological tactic to force surrender. If the U.S. invaded Japan, it would result in thousands of casualties on both the U.S. side and the Japanese side, which they both wanted to avoid by dropping the atomic bomb. August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay carrying a little boy dropped its first bomb on Hiroshima, resulting in approximately 140,000 deaths, according to Paul Tibbett in his book, The Paul Tibbett Story. 3 days later, boxcar piloted by Major Charles Sweeney dropped Fat Man on Nagasaki, resulting in approximately 70,000 deaths. A week later, the Emperor of Japan broadcasted his surrender of Japan. The creation of the atomic bomb caused the U.S. to be viewed as a global superpower and changed the role the U.S. would play for the rest of eternity. In conclusion, the race for the creation of the atomic bomb was pursued by basically every nation in the world, intended to be used as a direct result to end wars. Today I've told you why and how the development of the atomic bomb surfaced, pressures caused by its creation, and the impact the atomic bomb had on the world. Next time you think of the atomic bomb, I hope you have more appreciation, greater knowledge from the circumstances around it, and the impact it caused globally. Thank you guys.